Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about types of bears. You've hopefully learned a little bit from these videos about how your teddy bear is communicating with you and how to communicate with them. Hello! Yeah. So you've found ways to get to know your bear a little bit better. You might be wondering what type of bear you've got. Now, the reason I've got Oso here is just to start you off with a quick win. Now, most bedrooms will have an Oso. Well, not this particular bear, you might, but he's called a bearhoo. This is the type of bear that you don't really need a book to know about bearhoos. They're in pretty much every house in the country. They're the sort of bear that everybody loves them and they love everybody. Their life is pretty simple. They love cuddles. Is that fair to say, Oso? He doesn't really understand. He just heard cuddle. So it's good. It's all good. But going beyond the bearhoo, because up to now you probably thought that all bears were bearhoos because there are so many of these bears, and you might not have realised that actually bears have a lot of different personality types, just like humans do. In fact, I do wonder if maybe bears took some of their personality types from us, because the thing is, bears come here to the people dimension, or rather the animal, the spirit of bear comes here to live in these teddy bear bodies because they want experience, they want stories, culture, language, all the things that they can get here. And of course, there's also you. So it's possible that bears have been looking around and they have absorbed some of those characteristics. So moving on to one or two of the different types you might have heard me mention in an earlier video. The Pesser bear. Hello. I have drilled him as usual. He's pretty good usually in that he's a good example. Look at that. Yeah. I said to him as we were coming up the stairs, I said, "Don't you go looking happy on me." Terrible. This is not an example of how to treat your bears at home. These are career bears. Okay. They've got very specific roles, and so they have to do as they're told. Sorry, I've probably ruined the entire thing. Anyway, Pesser bears. There you go. An example of a Pesser bear. Now, at your companion guide, and you might look up the Pesser bear. There you go. Pesser bears. So we've got likes, dislikes, personality, and hopefully you have been making notes on your teddy bears like a good researcher, and you've discovered where they like to sit, what they think about your clothes, what they think about different topics, different objects, and that will give you some clues, and then you can go through and see if any of these types of bears actually fit your bear at home. So under appearance, we've got will look down in the mouth or cross. Even if they haven't got a downturned mouth, so it's not always that, they will still manage to glare at you. So, going back to teddy bear communication, so look in the eyes closely. They may have a strange mark on their fur, or they might be an interesting colour, so here you go. Now, if you read Muesli's story in Our Rabbit's Bears, look at that sad little face, you will understand that colour can be a factor. Pink is actually, depending on the type of bear, it's an okay colour for bears, but it is a little bit standout. But it's not just colour, it's things like the name you give them. And in Muesli's case, things started out well. He was a pink bear, he was good looking, and then somebody gave him a name. So it all went downhill from there. But that is another story. So they may have a strange mark on their fur, or they might be an interesting colour, something that makes them stand out. Now there will be different teddy bears that stand out for different reasons, but Pesser bears, sometimes they will take this thing that makes them stand out and they will make it into, well, I might have known I'd be that, nobody else is this colour. For example, they might have a little, I've covered it up. I just wouldn't like this. Mummy, I have a little, oh, what happened there? You see, look at the face. Look at the, it's not, yeah, I'll be extra nice to him. I'll give him lots of things to complain about because that's what makes a Pezzo Bear happy, isn't it? To make up for having to show his paw, his little scar. Yeah. So quite often they will take something like that and they'll make it into a reason that the world's against them. It's a bad place. Whereas other bears might love to be an individual and stand out, Pezzo Bears will see it as bad luck and something to moan about. And another thing about appearance, will look suspiciously at you if you're nice to them. So you see, those are different ways that without going, oh, every Pezzo Bear is pink with a scowling face, those are ways that you can tell a little bit more subtly. You've got to get to know your bear. You can tell what type of bear you've got. And you may very well have a Pezzo Bear, and I hope you do, because they are excellent fun, excellent entertainment, because there we are, having a good time, and a Pezzo Bear can always give you a different perspective, which is very valuable. But the Pezzo Bear does have an opposite. An Opta-Bear. Have you heard of an Opta-Bear? Well, you have now. And there we have Opta-Bears and their likes and dislikes. So let's look at appearance for Opta-Bears. Will have a smile on their face, whatever they're wearing. So, could he be an Opta-Bear? You might want to consider that, and as you see, a happy smiling face. Even if you put them in the ugliest clothes, you'll still find something positive to say or to think about it. Often small and round with short legs, but there are exceptions. So I've given you could well look a particular way, but as usual, never judge a bear by their cover. And always look pleased whatever you say to them. This is the clearest way to tell you have an Opta-Bear. But let's remember, whatever I say to him, so he's always happy about it. Because in his head, all he's hearing is cuddle, cuddle, cuddle. So he will look pleased. So that's where you have to dig a little bit deeper and you have to look at the likes and dislikes and the personality and how your bear reacts to different things that you say. Remember that this information is new to the people dimension. People haven't really realised that, for a start, bears are alive. Bears do have their own separate and distinct personalities. But now that we have a guide, we have the first 12 common types of bear have been released from the bear dimension. And there will be another 2 guides, so we will have probably up to 40 types. So if you find that your bear doesn't fit into one of those categories, that's probably because they're in the next book or the book after that. I'm just looking over at the producer here. He is a little bit shy, so we won't meet him yet. But he's actually in book 2 and he's rather pleased with himself, but book 2 has not been released yet. But I think the important thing to realise is that whatever kind of bear you've got, don't just judge them on one feature, if they're big or they're small, or if they're smiling or if they're scowling. It's like people, you've really got to take the time to get to know them. And I think in the next video we're going to cover a very important question, which is, are rabbits bears? So I'll leave you to think about that. Until next time.